Here are some user experience stuff that we now have in Windows 10, and some, in fact, most of it is also in Windows 11. First of all, the tiles have survived from Windows 8. Now, tiles were not a very popular thing in Windows 8, but the idea was to make Windows desktop or laptop look more like a mobile device, like a phone. So tiles were included. Let's take a look at a Windows 10 machine. By the way, I'm going to go through all of these things without coming back to this deck here. So we'll just run through these. So if I click the Start button here in Windows 10, you'll see these tiles over here, but you'll see the menu over here on the left. So these are the tiles we're talking about. They did not survive in Windows 11. They go away in Windows 11. In fact, in Windows 11, this is a Windows 11 menu, and you see I have this pinned area, but no tiles. The next one is the timeline. Again, this is another one that did not survive in Windows 11. Let's see if I can bring up the timeline. I'm going to hold down the Windows key and click the Tab key at the same time. Now, here it is, but you don't really see it because I don't have any history on this virtual machine. So this is where it would appear, and so this keeps track of some of the activities I've done in the past and will show a timeline of those activities. That goes away in Windows 11. Taking a look at the taskbar, and I'm going to go to full screen here to make this a little bit bigger. You're looking at this taskbar down here at the bottom. Well, the Start menu is off your screen just a little bit, but this area over here on the right, where all these icons are, that's technically called the notification area. Many people call it the system tray, and that's really incorrect. That's not Microsoft's official term for it. It's the notification area. By the way, the reason people call it system tray is because the executable file that creates all this and keeps track of it is called systray.exe, so that's why people call it the system tray. Quick settings occur now over here in this little where it says notifications. This is now where notifications are, as well as quick settings. And if I click that, you'll see the quick settings right here, where I can turn off and on the nightlight, network connections, VPNs, and so on. I can turn those off and on. And then the notifications are up at the top. They're a little bit off of your screen right now, but you see it says no new notifications. This is where notifications would appear just like they do, say, at the top of your phone. And you can turn those off. All of this or most of this is configurable. Desktop peak. This is a hard one to see. It's way over here, and you can barely see this little line here. But if I move my cursor down to the bottom, actually, I should open up a folder or two before I do this. So I'll open a couple of windows here. So I've got a couple of windows open here, and I'm going to go over to the desktop peak area right here and click, and my windows will all close. Now, they're not really closed. They're minimized to the taskbar down here, but they are no longer on the desktop. There are a number of effects that when I open a window, I can apply to this window, and I'm not going to go through where those are right now in the interest of time, but I can add shadows to these windows. I can add transparency, for example, to the title bar or to the entire window so that you can kind of see through it. I can now change the cursor appearance, which is really a cool thing because for so long finding the cursor has been very difficult. So I'm just going to type cursor here in there we go, cursor. Let's see, I believe it's the size one I want, and that'll take me to that area. I can now have color cursors. I can change the size of the cursor. So I now have several options for what the cursor looks like, so I can find it a little bit easier. The only thing I find is if I make the cursor too big, when I point to something, it covers up the little pop-up tooltip that comes up, and it's hard to read what that is. But other than that, it's a pretty handy little feature. But you can see over here is the great big cursor, over here is the little cursor, and then I can change the colors of it as well. Windows Ink, and I don't have Windows Ink right here on this machine, because this is not connected to anything that could draw on it. So it would be down here. It looked like a little pen and ink pad, and I would click that and I would be able to open up a whiteboard or whatever the current desktop is, so that I can mark it up if I want to mark it up with my mouse or with a tablet device, for example. Finally is tablet mode, and again, I don't have that here on this virtual machine, but it would be in one of these quick settings here, would be a tablet mode, and if I click it, it changes this start menu to all tiles to emulate what it would look like on a tablet. So those are some of the user experience changes that we have in Windows 10, and I've told you which ones no longer survived in Windows 11, for example, timeline and tiles.